Hello, welcome. I'm Samantha, and today on this episode of The Movement, we're going to be talking to Karmen Fink, Divine Synergist, and she's going to share with us how spirituality can help us heal. A little bit about myself. My name is Samantha, and I am a posture and yoga coach. I teach people how to be more flexible and strong in their body and mind so they can move about their life without restrictions and do the things that they want to do. And I'm going to get Karmen on here. Yay! Hey, Karmen, how are you?
Good, it worked.
Yay! Yay, it worked. The Mercury Retrograde didn't get us down, did it?
We are out of Mercury Retrograde.
Oh, we're out. Praise God. So Karmen is a divine synergist. Can you explain what that means?
Absolutely. So I help people understand why they're here, how to live on purpose, and how everything is connected to us. So the astrology piece, the numerology piece, and how to really work with those energies. Because just like Mercury retrograde, right? So many people don't realize that it's happening and how it impacts us. So I bring it all together in a beautiful package.
Awesome. So for the people who don't know, what would you describe as spirituality? What does that mean? And is it different from religion?
Oh, yes, it is so different from religion. So for me, my experience with religion in church, and by the way, I did grow up in the church. I grew up in Disciples of Christ, went to church every single Sunday, is you're told what to believe or what to do about and who God is and what the principles are. And it's nice to have the Bible in the background and the bones, right? The context of it. And for me, spirituality is experiencing God, because to me, God lives within each one of us, and God is energy. And that's how we're all connected through these invisible energy cords.
I like
So
that, because who can really know who God is enough to tell another person?
exactly. It's all an experience. It's just like love, right?
Mm.
I mean, how do you experience, or how do you express what love is, or put into word what love is? It's the same thing with God. Or if the word God triggers you, or it's not, does it resonate for you? I just invite people to use a different word: divine source, universe, Buddha. Because for me, it's all the same thing, right? It's this divine higher power. It's the creator of all that is. And ultimately, for me, spirituality is that relationship. We don't really build a relationship when we sit inside of a church. It's what are you doing outside of church on Sunday to really build that relationship with God?
So could you say would they be able to practice religion, continue going to their regular church, whatever denomination it is, and be spiritual at the same time?
Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. Because to me, we're co-creating all the time. We're co-creating through our thoughts, through our words, through our actions. So to me, it's just taking it one step further by implementing it into your everyday life instead of just one day on a Sunday going to church.
Can you give us examples of how you implement this in your everyday life?
Yes, I have lots of, I'm trying to, oh my word, yes, I have lots of examples. um, Sorry, Bubbles, my cat, just walked in. So you may hear little meows in the background.
It's fine.
Um, so one is I do work with the moon cycles, right? With Mercury retrograde, with the energies of what's happening with the planets.
Tell me
Because
more about Mercury retrograde. What is that? I hear a lot about it. Some people say it makes it hard to communicate, or technology is difficult. What is it, and what can we do about it?
it does. So here's how I look at it: is God created the universe. God created the planets in the universe. God created us as well. And so I believe that God created these different avenues for us to connect with, right? So astrology may not be your thing. Now, Mercury retrograde, all planets move retrograde, meaning that they speed up and go really quick. And it looks like they're going backwards, but they're not going backwards. Okay. They're just going so quickly forwards. They look like they're going backwards, and they take us back over old ground. So no matter what, so Mercury is about communication, technology. What's the other word? Patience. You learn a lot of patience, right? And so that's why you've heard old wives' tales like, oh, it's a horrible time during Mercury retrograde, or don't sign a contract during Mercury retrograde. That's actually not true. You can sign a contract during Mercury retrograde. In fact, I did, and it was the best thing ever. My hands were tied several years ago, and I knew what I was doing. And it was I probably had the best outcome that you could have ever had in that situation, ever. So it's just dot your I's, cross your T's if you sign a contract during Mercury retrograde, and know that it's going to be flexible. So if you choose to sign a contract to work with a client, just know that that term is going to be flexible. That's why I
sounds like it's a mindfulness tool. Hey, it's Mercury retrograde. That's a good reminder for me to dot my I's and cross my T's.
Exactly. And in the Ring of Fire community that I have, I teach people, I give them tools and teach them how to understand how each Mercury retrograde is going to impact you personally, because it's going to impact you differently than it's going to impact me versus other people based on where they are along their journey.
Awesome. Can you give us another example of a tool that you use, a spirituality tool?
Journaling. So like everybody says meditation, right? Yes to meditation and yes to getting outside in nature. For me, journaling is a way that I can get everything out of my head onto paper. I can process it. And journaling looks different for everybody. You know, some people just like to do what I call brain dumps. Some people like to follow prompts that maybe include gratitude. You know, what am I thankful for today? I like to ask myself, what do I love and value about myself as well? I also like to ask myself before bedtime, how do I want to feel? Right?
How often do you journal?
Every day.
Awesome.
Every day. In fact, I have my own journal. It's in the other room that I wrote so that people can purchase. So yeah.
Awesome. Yes, I love that. I want to share a little bit about my journey on journaling. For the longest time, I had such an aversion to it. And my coaches, my teachers, they're like, journal, journal, journal. And I'm like, no, I don't want to journal. They're like, try it, typing it instead. And I'm like, no, I don't like that either. My journal ended up being more like notes. I would take notes on something I learned, and I might brain dump occasionally if I was feeling overly emotional, but it didn't really feel helpful in the way that some people said that it was, until my teacher this summer suggested that instead of brain dump, I write poems. And without judgment, I don't have to show these poems to anybody. And then all of a sudden, my words and emotions came out beautifully. He also gave me another tip, and he said it was based on the Lakota Code of Ethics. One of the things is never put in print anything bad about yourselves. So I'm creating a poem, even if I'm in really harsh judgment of myself, the words I'm putting down are not blaming myself or calling myself bad or anything like that, which is what I did journaling in the past. Didn't feel helpful. All of a sudden, my journaling feels helpful.
Yeah. Well, and that's what you're creating with God, with the universe. That's Iyanla Vanzant calls those prayers to the universe. And now you've put it in writing and you've said, this is who I am. This is my identity. This is what I want. This is what's coming to me. We so focus on what we don't want instead of what we do want, right? And a lot of people, when you start to realize that, then you can really focus on what is it that you do want. Appreciate the people who you are with instead of who didn't show up, for example.
Would you say that brain dumping or journaling about negativity is not a good thing to do?
I think it's good to get it out of your body because, as you and I both know, it's energy that gets stuck in the body. and then go back. So I like to go back and review it and then do journaling on that. Because when you go back with fresh eyes and a different energy, then that's, for me, that's one of the ways that I learn. By the way, a lot of people are taught here, I actually have it in front of me. A lot of people are taught that your thoughts, I don't know if you guys can see this, that your thoughts become words, become actions. And what I've learned is that it's really your energy and how you feel that lead to all of these. Now, your thoughts and your feelings go back and forth, but always ask yourself in the morning, how do you feel? And I have an emotion wheel that I look at every morning to ask myself, how do I feel? Because then I can choose to shift that. So it really starts with your energy is what it starts with.
I agree with that, because a lot of times people say you can control your thoughts. Well, actually, I don't think I can.
You can. And it starts with your energy first. It starts with, how are you feeling, right? What vibration are you at? If you're in a lower vibration, then you can shift. You can choose new thoughts, and you get to choose how quickly you shift out of that. So a lot of times when somebody's angry, if I've got an angry client, I'll ask them, well, how long do you want to be angry for? Because you're still creating that anger and what you don't want. So give yourself a few hours, give yourself a day, and then make a choice. Choice brings your power back. Choice brings your power back. So just know that at any given second, any given minute, you have a choice of to say yes, to say no, of really how you're spending your energy. And I feel like because we're shifting from this third dimensional consciousness, which is a lower level consciousness, lower vibration, to this fifth dimensional, higher vibration consciousness, that all of that's going to look different as well. Where we spend our energy, how we spend our energy and our time is all going to look different. What we eat, how much we sleep, what we consume. I think it's all going to change. Yeah.
For people still in the third dimension, why spirituality? What can this do to help them? Is it going to help them cure their physical ailments? Is it going to help them cure their mental illness?
All of it, because it's all connected together, mind, body, and spirit. And I feel like so often we focus on our mind and what we're consuming, and our body and exercising, and we forget about the relationship with ourself, because that's really what I focus on. It's the relationship with yourself, the authentic self, that leads to the relationship with the divine source, the creator, with God. Because I was disconnected for so long from myself that I was blaming everybody else. And once we take personal responsibility, for me, that is the key to getting out of this entire mess, right? Because now I've taken back my power and I'm creating what I do want. So really, we all do get to choose at this time. We can either continue to be in victim and blame each other, or we can take personal responsibility, and that is going to shift everything.
Oh my God, I love that. And I love what you said about some of us focus on the diet and the exercise. As a exercise teacher myself, I used to be in that framework. I separated completely from the divine, from religion, and I focused on me. I was very meticulous about what I ate, about how long I exercised, about what exercises I did. And no matter what I did, I kept hitting a wall. And it wasn't until several things happened at the same time. I was forced to move towards the spiritual path because I didn't know what else to do. Everything wasn't working. And I discovered the bowspring at the same time, which when I did yoga for years before, I sort of separated from the chakras, from the energy, from the subtle body. I thought, that's all hogwash. I'm going to focus on what I know, asana, and practice that. When I came into the bowspring, it forced me to be attuned with the subtle body, because if you've done bowspring movement before, you know it's not just about recreating a picture in a book or copying a video. You have to feel it and be sensitive and be one with yourself and the universe at the same time. And then I had this massive shift. So I wanted to share a little story. I didn't know what I was going to do. My career was breaking down. I had several career paths that didn't go where I wanted them to go. And I was at my wit's end. And a friend of mine who is a spiritual woman, she recommended I call this woman named Sharia. I didn't know her from Adam. I was I didn't have any idea, so I called her up, and I just imagined Sharea's got like long white hair, and she's like sitting with rocks around her and stuff. She had this beautiful voice, and my life changed after these few coaching phone calls with this woman named Sharea, who I've never talked to since. But since then, I started treasuring the energy from Mother Earth and bringing them into my home. She told me to reconnect with crystals and nature, which I had no interest in before, but it is profound.
It is. Well, to me, it was all created by the creator. And that's, I mean, Mother Nature, Gaia, is here to help us heal. And it's just another healing modality that we get to use every single day. So one of my favorite meditations is called a walking meditation, where you go outside, walk in nature. I typically here in Indy will go walk on the Monon Trail, but don't take any electronics, and don't take don't walk your dog, or don't take a human with you. And because they're energy too, they have chakras, the animals have chakras too, and just stay focused and start to give thanks and gratitude for everything that you encounter. And then start to notice who comes to you, because the angels will send you different animals that have messages along with them. So your angel guides are constantly talking to us. And that's one of my favorite things to go do. And then before you know it, you have all these messages, and everybody else is either in their phone, not paying attention. And then it just brings your awareness. Awareness is key for change.
When you say angel guides, I get a little bit tight. Like, part of me still wants to not want to take that in. I still have a wall around that, but I know that people have got divine guidance from this. And I want to say something to people watching. We're talking about things that they call non-falsifiable, which means we can't prove them with the scientific method, but we can't prove them wrong either. And
Correct.
Opening your mind up to these things, opening up your faith to these things can elevate yourself and your life. I know that it's lifted a veil from me and created a better person in its place. I was able to connect with myself in a way and become a person instead who can help others. Whereas before I was a person who had a very repulsive aura, and I was pushing people away a lot of the time, and I had no capacity to help anybody because I couldn't help myself.
Exactly. Well, I was there too, just living in a lower vibration. And a lot of that could have been lessons that you really chose to learn before you came here. So I can also see that in numerology is your soul's contract. The lessons that your soul chose to learn in this lifetime. And then once you learn them, you take that wisdom with you to future lifetimes as well.
Okay, so now we're talking about reincarnation. Do you believe in that?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, I just got off the phone with a gal a few hours ago, because what I've started to notice in my own life as I learn about different past lives is how it's impacting me in this life. And it's just playing out as karma in this lifetime. And that's what I do with theta healing, is we can go in and we can heal that trauma, that energy. And I can heal seven generations back, either on the mother side or the father side. And then I think you mentioned this earlier, like as we heal ourselves, everything else heals around us. So as our energy shifts, so does everyone else around us.
This is awesome. I love it. I would, just a couple of years ago, I would never be down for this kind of stuff, but I've seen how it's working. Twice this year, I was invited to be a part of a Native American ritual, and where we sat up all night long and prayed. We took part in plant medicine, and we were healing together. And at one time during the night, I looked at the fire, and I had this feeling, I've been here before. I've done this before. And I don't know where it came from, and it could have just been in my imagination, but I could have actually been conscious of other situations in past lives, or where I was part of the earth before. You know, no matter is created or destroyed. No energy is created or destroyed. We are matter, and we are energy. We didn't start when we were born. We were here before in other forms, perhaps.
Absolutely. Yeah. So our soul, our energetic soul, spiritual soul, we are spiritual feeling beings, you know, that have the soul that come in, and we chose a contract. We chose, this is now what my understanding is. I chose my family. I chose my body. I chose all of this for a reason. We all chose this time right now to live. This is like really a once in a lifetime what we're experiencing right now on Earth. And so I just reminded myself of that the other day. Like, I chose this situation to help other people during this time. We all chose this.
Oh, isn't that empowering? We could sit back and be like, I used to call up my mom. I'm not kidding. And I'd say, I blame her. It's your fault for having me. It's your fault that you started all of this misery. I literally did. I've been putting that kind of hatred towards my mom. When I look at it through that perspective, I chose my parents. Mm-hmm. No matter how messed up they are or aren't, I chose that for a reason. And that's empowering. That doesn't leave me in the victim mindset. That gives me tools to go forth to learn and grow.
Yep. And by the way,
I think that can help anybody.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I found out that I was biracial in a past lifetime. And I think that's why I have the perspective I do in this lifetime. And I don't see that division. And I remember when I had my past lives done, they said, you know, do you know a very powerful Black female? And I said, yeah, I do. She's one of my good friends. And that, we think, was my mom in that lifetime.
Interesting.
So it does. It once you start to open yourself up to all of this, it allows you to heal in all these different areas. And that is going to impact us. Mind, body, and spiritually as well.
I found that I have just recently, the more I take on this spiritual, the belief, the faith, the more I am able to heal my relationships with my family. Mm-hmm. Not only, first I started healing relationships with others, and then my most difficult relationships with my family, those ones started to heal, and just who knows what's next.
Exactly. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels a lot better than before when I knew that my actions and my behavior were causing pain for myself and others.
Yeah, and if you're butting heads with somebody in this lifetime, what I've learned is you could have had a past life with them in another lifetime. You know, I have people that I work better on a friendship level than we do business to business. So that's what I focus on, is our friendship instead. Mm-hmm. So who knows what happened in a prior life, you know, with business. You don't know. So just start to notice. So one of my biggest things with clients is, how do you feel? Where do you feel it in your body? You may do this too with bowspring, right? Where are you feeling it in your body? Mm-hmm. And then just put your hand there and just breathe into it. Just breathe into it. And then start listening to your body, even spiritually. Because again, that's how guides, angel guides, whatever you resonate with, that's how they're communicating with you. And by the way, according to Theta Healing, we were given 4 angels at birth as our guides. That'll never change. Now you'll have other spiritual guides, and it could be ancestors that come to help you as well, different times in your life. Because I haven't yet connected with any angels yet, but I do feel a strong connection to my grandmother who has passed. I feel like she's still here and providing comfort for me. And I'm sure a lot of people have had similar feelings to a loved one who's passed. Yep. My Uncle Billy will typically come visit me October, November timeframe. He hasn't visited yet. And he died when I was, 6th or 7th grade? So think of that. And he still comes back to visit me. And I had my great grandpa, who I never met, who came to visit me for several months a few years ago, because there was a project he wanted to help me with. And so he came here to help me with that project. Fascinating. So I just wanted to reiterate to people who are watching, even though this might sound far-fetched, it doesn't hurt to be open to it. In fact, it can help you, like it's helped me and Karmen and people that we've both worked with. Yeah. And take whatever resonates, because here's the thing, your soul's going to hear what your soul's ready to hear right now. And so you may tuck it away in the back of your brain, or just let go of it. Maybe it doesn't resonate for you right now, and that's okay. So, and for you, as you were speaking about your journey, you went in open and you were curious and you kept asking questions. That is the best thing to do. That's how we open up our energy field to receive our blessings that God has for us, is through curiosity. When we're in judgment, that's literally a wall that will block all of our blessings. So for anybody who's looking for change,
there was no more judgment left. I realized I was the common denominator in all of my problems, and everything else I had tried before, the traditional methods, the therapy, the doctors, the medicines, they weren't working. So if you're at the end of your rope and you've tried everything else and they're still not working, then maybe try this.
Exactly. Oh yeah. It's, as I shifted, so did my business shift as well.
Same.
Because what my business started out, which was event planning, totally shifted into this. So yeah, just be open, be curious. Know that whatever you are seeing, like you said, is not my imagination, but that was your imagination. That was Samantha's imagination. So yes, that came from a past life, that you have all the wisdom within inside of you anyway. Right? So something that was given to you is probably not going to be given to me because it's not for me, it's for you. So don't second guess that, your urgings. What you want wants you. I don't remember who said that. That's one of my absolute favorite quotes. What you want wants you. There's a reason why you want it. It was placed on your heart for a reason.
I love that. So how do people work with you?
So I have a couple of different things. Ring of Fire community, where it gives you great tools that you can use every single day. Every month there's a new lesson, journaling prompts, teach you how to work with these planets, astrology as well. So that's everything I do is virtual, and that's all online. That's $33 a month. I have courses that people can take as well. If you really want to understand why you're here and how to live on purpose, we can work together through that, called the Live on Purpose course. Go to my website, hearts-joy.com, and you can see everything there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karmen. I love this conversation. And I hope people who are watching now or in the future will love it as well. And feel free to ask questions and we'll get back to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.